I'm all alone, the mood is right. My head is clear, my hair shirt's tight. For love I gotta strut and grovel.
Hello, good listeners, it's Fyodor. I'm on the phone with David Safran, a folk musician, songwriter who was on Vocalo once before, right after the release of his first single, Adult Things. And recently, his new song, The Life of an Amorous Man, was covered by a Danish musician. So I decided to call David to catch up and find out what he's been up to.
I'd be just as miserable still. And I'm singing Lady Marianne, a comb and a glass in my hand. Oh, the life of an amorous man.
Hello, David. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Well, before we listen to your new single, The Life of an Amorous Man, and the new cover that is coming out, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to these last few months.
Well, I've been working on the record, pretty much. I have about 6 songs more to record, and the album Delicate Parts will be finished. It's still a work in progress. I've been writing and drafting the album for, maybe 3 or 4 years now. So that's pretty much it, you know.
And your new song, The Life of an Amorous Man, how did that come out, and who is this Danish musician? Tell us a little bit about the song and the musician.
Yeah, well, The Life of an Amorous Man actually has something of a curious history, because I wrote the first draft in 2004, and I recorded it in 2005, but I thought I hadn't pulled off that version. So in 2007, I rewrote the lyrics completely, and I was happy with the second version, which is the one we're debuting tonight. But I felt, a 22-year-old kid singing about loss might, sound insincere. So I locked it away, hoping to release it later, like when I'm 60. But my friend Tom Schrader informed me that if I didn't put out the song, he'd steal all the lines. So I guess I could tell people I'm 60 anyway. You know, I have a voice that sounds like an iceberg splitting apart.
All right. Well, who is this Danish musician? How did you come to work with him, and how much do you know about him?
I know very little, actually. I guess this guy heard my song Adult Things on some internet radio show, and he got in contact with me asking permission to cover that song. And I wasn't against this, but Francesca Johnson, who's a local jazz singer, had just recorded that tune for her debut album. So I suggested he take Amorous Man, which has like 10 pages of lyrics and 45 minutes, of music.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really hear anything back until last month, and this draft of Amorous Man, this wild, epic Eurovision version, appeared in my email, and it was. I guess he's still working on it, so he wants to keep it anonymous. But I've been listening to it now for maybe 3.5 weeks, and I think it's just wild. It's completely different.
Yeah, did you know what to expect before he sent you the version?
Nothing. I was so suspicious of the whole process. And I'm like, here, just take this complicated song or whatever. I didn't even know my music was being played in Denmark.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think you listened to it, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
good, yeah, and we're gonna hear it in just a second here.
Yeah. But I don't really think Amorous Man is a song. I think it's a complaint. I think it's a splendidly irritable fit, and I also think it's a kind of unburdening. Here is someone finally allowed an opportunity to take apart himself and take apart his culture and take apart his relationships, take apart his views on sex, take apart his writer's block in a comic and essayistic way. But the song's ultimate joke is that the life of an amorous man, I think, isn't that amorous at all. I don't even think it's much of a life. So, the narrator is alone and drunk singing Robert Burns songs to himself. So it's interesting to see my take on it and someone else's take. It's a completely different interpretation,
Okay, well, let's hear part of your original song and then the cover, so listeners can understand what we're talking about, and get a feel for both versions. Here goes, The Life of an Amorous Man by David Safran.
Our little romance, all in all, was worth a circle in a store. Some women just don't care to know me, but when it comes to love, they've learned the plan. They close the door, they kiss the hand
can choose a husband by the hair. Better do it fast while something's there.
So David, you said the cover version is wild, and you're right about that, listening to it. I saw somewhere you posted saying that it's in part a lament, in part a Eurovision dance song, and it's exactly like it is. When you heard the cover version for the first time, what was your original reaction?
Well, I love being covered. I think it's a great honor for other people to take on my songs and approach it from a different angle. So I loved it immediately. I can't be critical of other people reworking my music. I was impressed. I thought the production was interesting, and it's multi-layered. So I thought it was great, just different, than my own.
And what's your take on this Europop chorus, and then at the end there's that fake guitar solo? It's interesting because it's both. I don't know. In some ways it's cheesy, I think.
Yeah.
So what was your take on that?
I think it's all electronic instruments. You're probably more aware of European pop music than I am. But it just seemed like every element put together and done somewhat successfully, because my voice and my weight of voice and my lyrics are so, like I said, essayistic or autobiographical, and it's all first person. Mm-hmm. So for someone else to make jokes about hair shirts and inquisitions, it was interesting for me.
He also sings it differently than you do. The way he sings, I would say it's more of a life of a melancholy man. Do you think he alters the character you're trying to build with the way he sings it?
That's a great question. I think so, but that's part of the process of covering someone else's material. That no matter what, it's going to have a different spin, a different angle, a different perspective. So mine is a bit more hysterical and a bit more comic, and mm-hmm. I think this cover is more uneasy and more depressed even, but done in a very lively and pop way,
How does it feel to have someone put their own interpretation to your music?
Oh, I just love this, because I feel at this point in my career I have my foot to the floor, but I'm only going 20 miles an hour. So when other people are helping take my music to another type of audience, I'm humbled and I'm thankful, and I appreciate every minute of it. I was speaking with a local music blogger recently who refused to write about me, and I'll never forget this. She said, "Our generation doesn't want to listen to music, which makes us think. Music should make us dance or help us fall asleep." And, of course, I don't agree with this. I think there's a deeply intelligent audience out there, eager for new music and new voices. But, I don't know, new singer-songwriters, 20-somethings, tend to avoid writing bright, bawdy, exuberant songs. And consequently, we're stuck with a contemporary music that I think is too musical and too delicate and too, frightened of offending other people's sensibilities. So if someone gives me his or her ear, I don't want to whisper in it. I want to kvetch as loudly and fearlessly as I can. And hopefully my music, particularly The Life of an Amorous Man, offers the listener a chance to think and laugh and kvetch as well. So if I'm doing it or someone from Denmark is doing it, I'm happy with either, Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, well, thank you. When is your first record coming out? When can we expect that?
Probably in about 3 or 4 months, the whole record will be completed.
Great. Well, thank you. Keep us updated.
Oh, well, thank you.
You can choose a husband by the hair. Better do it fast while something's there. Styles changed, men are now made softer. And I watch the sunlight on the wall. I'm responding